Welcome to the October 16th meeting of the Easthampton City Council. Could I have a roll call, please?
Justin Cobb.
Present.
Donald Sikowski.
Here.
Salem Derby.
Present.
Dan Hagan.
Present.
Joe McCoy.
Here.
Chester Oglevitz.
Present.
Dan Rist. Joy Winnie.
Here.
Nathan Ziegler.
Present.
Approval of the minutes. Motion, please.
A motion to approve minutes?
Previous.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Any further comment on this motion? I do have one brief little President McCoy in the back there. The very last page. Flip it over. Little typo. Okay, we'll correct
Okay.
that.
Yep.
And other than that, I have no further comment. Anybody else have any comment on this? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or objection? Motion passes. Public speak time. Is there any member of the public here who would like to address the council on any issue that's currently not on the public hearing agenda? Please step forward. State your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll kind of, since we have some time, move on. Communications and correspondence. Councilman McCoy, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did receive a communication from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to the Department of Public Utilities. Just a mention that the Western Mass has filed a request for storm recovery reserve cost adjustment tariff. This is related to monies spent associated with the October 29th, 2011 snowstorm and Hurricane Sandy in 2012. The full document will be available through the city clerk if you would like to see more about this request. I also have a request from the Board of Assessors to the council requesting a classification date for the 2014 fiscal year. So I would like in the form of motion to have that sent to Finance.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to send to Finance the request from the principal assessor to begin the fiscal year 14 tax classification process. Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Councilman McCoy, I think you have one more
Yes,
item.
the last notice is a reminder that we have 2 more elections coming up on November 5th, one for our municipal elections and the special Senate election, and to let you know that absentee ballots for both those elections are now available at the city clerk's office. That concludes.
Thank you. Mayor Communications. Okay. No report. That says Councilor Oglevitz, Rules and Government Relations. No report. No report. We're moving right along. Councilor Hagan, Finance.
Finance's next meeting will be October 23rd at 6 p.m. At that time, we'll attempt to start the process with the tax classification. I'll put that on the agenda. And also, we will take up the $24,000 for electric fuel and heating at Payson Street School. We did address this at our last subcommittee meeting and obtain some information from the finance director. And as part of that, I would like to set a public hearing tonight. So I'll make in the form of a motion that we set a public hearing for $24,000 interdepartmental transfer for electric fuel and heating costs at Payson Street School for the November 6th meeting.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to set a public hearing for the interdepartmental transfer of $24,000 concerning fuel and heating costs at Payson Street School for November 6th, 2013, 6:15 in these chambers. Is there any further comment on this motion?
Just one quick, I did leave all the counselors a sheet of expenses that clarify a little of the original itemized expenses on our appropriation request. I received this from the school department, and it also included the actual invoices from all the heating oil companies. And as you'll notice, the figure is slightly different, but we're going to stick with the original appropriation because we don't know the future of Parsons at this time.
Okay, any other comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Councilman Hagan, you still have the table.
Also, tonight we'll take up 2 public hearings, one for the $25,000 for the CPA Open Space Fund for football field, and a request by the Contributory Retirement Board to accept amended Section 101, Section 32 There's also one item of new business, if you want me to take care of that, or you want me to?
We do have time, why don't you cover that?
Okay, and under new business, there is a request for an interdepartmental transfer, and I'll do a first reading on this. Dated October 9th, 2013, request is hereby made for the approval of the following appropriation. The amount requested, $7,150 to be transferred from the reserve fund. In that amount, $7,150, and transferred to temporary positions election workers, $7,000, and temporary positions election postage, $150. The amount requested will be used for the following purpose: to funding for the dual November 5th, 2013 city election and the special state election.
Second. Was that?
Is that in the form of a motion?
That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Your second is accepted. Okay, we have before us on the table a motion to move the interdepartmental transfer for funding for the dual November 5th, 2013 city election and special state election in the amount of $7,150 to finance for review and consideration. Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any objections or abstention? Motion passes. Councilor Hagan?
Also, in connection with this, I would like to set a public hearing for November 6th on this item, the interdepartmental request for the $7,150 for election expenses. And I'll do that in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to set a public hearing for the interdepartmental transfer of $7,150 for the next meeting, November 6th.
November 6th, yeah.
Okay, 6:15 in these chambers. Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Councilor Hagan?
That concludes finance.
Thank you. Public Safety, Councilor McCoy?
Thank you, Mr. President. We have two street-associated issues, one about a stop sign at Garfield Avenue in Hiskin, and then parking restrictions on Mechanic Street. We're going to be looking at both of those together, probably sometime in the have a meeting sometime in the second week in November. We are gathering more information actually related to both of those issues, and so we're not ready quite to have a final meeting, and also waiting for additional information from the Chief of Police. So tentatively, that meeting will be in the second week of November. I have been in contact with the abutters people who have initiated these requests, and they are aware of the time frame of what we're looking at. But I would like to ask in the form of a motion for a 30-day extension for the street stop sign proposal at Garfield and Hiskin Avenue.
Second.
We have a motion on the table for an extension of the request for a stop sign proposal, Garfield Avenue and Hiskin Avenue. Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, any objections or abstention? Motion passes. Councilor McCoy?
Thank you. And then also the request for street acceptances, that's moving along as well, but in light of the information that's coming to light from adjacent communities, we're looking at exactly how many streets are not yet recognized by the city, and maybe a concise approach, how we should approach those streets. So there will be a broader discussion with the DPW and city engineer considering those issues. And so I don't have a date to set a meeting at that time, but we are working on that, and I will keep everyone abreast of that. And that concludes.
Thank you, Councilor McCoy. Appointments, Councilor Winning.
I have no report tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ordinance, Councilor Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to let everybody know that we are going to continue our joint public hearing with the planning board on October 22nd, which is Tuesday evening, at 6:30. And that is in regards to some amendments to the special permitting process, fixing some mistakes. That concludes my report.
Okay. Property, Councilor Psychowski.
Yes, there's really not a report. We have a tentative date for a meeting on October 16th, and we're going to do a walkthrough through the Market Street building. Huh?
23rd.
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 Today's the 16th.
Today's the 16th.
Oh, yeah, 21st, I'm sorry.
3rd.
23rd.
I stand corrected once again. And then on the 3rd or 4th,
It's at 4
23rd.
p.m.
we'll have a walk through the Payson Street School.
Just the city council.
And the time?
That's 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
And that concludes the report.
Okay, thank you. We have only one item on new business, and we're still waiting, so that said, I'll ask Counselor Ogilvy to move that item to rules, please.
Yes, I'd like to move the request from Councilor Ogilvy to add the Pledge of Allegiance to the council meetings to the Rules Committee.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to move the request from Counselor Ogilvy to amend City Council Rule 5E to move to add the Pledge of Allegiance to council meetings. Is there any further comment on this motion, Counselor?
Yes, I'm real pleased that Councilor Ogilvy is putting this forward, but I can't see why we can't vote on this tonight without going through rules, because it's it's just proper to do that. I know something that's been overlooked all these years. I can't see why we can't go forward with it like this.
It's actually our rules that interfere with that. If it's
If
not an
we-
emergency measure, it's not something we can do. So.
A lot of times we've skated around using the rules. No,
Someone's willing to make a
Okay.
motion to do so, then that's fine, but
just want to let everybody know I'm in favor of that.
that message was received. Thank you. Any other counselor? Hearing no further comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, we do have a couple minutes before we go into the public hearing. I'll call about a 4-minute recess here, so just have to do that motion. Like to have a motion to enter public hearings, please.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to enter into public hearings. Is there any further comment on this motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstention? Motion passes. Councilor Hagan, you have the floor.
Yes, our first public hearing tonight is a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $25,000. I'll do a second reading on this. Dated September 12, 2013. The request is hereby made for approval of the following appropriation. The amount requested, $25,000, to be appropriated from the CPA Open Space Fund. In that amount, $25,000 is appropriated to the CPA Football Field Project for $25,000. The amount requested will be used for the following purpose: for professional services, develop plans and specifications for a new football field at White Brook Middle School.
Okay, is there anyone you'd like to call, or do you want me to ask the public if they would like to comment?
I think we could start with the public. I think there's
Okay,
some
does
people.
every member of the public would like to come forward and address the council on this issue? Please do so. State your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amy Guyette, and I live at 140 Brickyard Road in Southampton. I do own Tavern on the Hill in 100 Mountain Road, Easthampton. I'm the president of the Easthampton Friends of Football, and we have been working with the CPA for quite some time now to put together a plan to actually do major repair work, essentially take out the field that is there and put in a new field. The field that is existing was put in, excuse me, I don't exactly know, I want to say 15 plus years ago. It was done by volunteers. It's held up pretty well, but it's needing to be replaced at this point for the safety of our players. So to that point, we have gotten this far, and now we're asking you for the funds, to appropriate the funds from CPA so that we can have the site work done.
Okay, any councilors have any questions? Council Derby?
And is this the current football field that we're talking about here, the lower
Correct.
field?
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other councilors? Okay, thank you very much then.
And we've also been working very closely with the Easthampton School Committee, which technically is the body that is asking for the funds.
Okay,
We're sort of working hand in hand.
understand.
Thank you.
Is there any other member of the public who'd like to step forward and address the council on this issue? Please do so, and state your name and address for the record, please.
I note that the assistant planner is here, and he may have some other comments, but just as a member of the public and as the mayor, I want to let you know that this is a good project and it should be supported. I think the school department is anxious to improve that field, and they don't have the resources, so this will be a good start to identify what needs to be done, and then I'm sure that there'll be a second request at some point in the future to help pay for what needs to be done. Thank you.
I'll invite the Assistant City Planner if you have anything you'd like to add. Please state your name and
My name is Jamie Webb. I'm the assistant planner in the planning department. It's a wonderful project, and I think it would benefit the community. The football program has been severely hasn't had the resources behind the city, and they've been playing on a field that's dangerous, and they could really use the funds to support their program going forward.
Councilor Hagan.
Just a couple of comments. As a member of the CPA committee, this was voted unanimously by the CPA committee, and it is only for the, at this point, for the engineering study to see the feasibility and what the total cost. It's the same thing that we did earlier with the soccer/baseball softball complex to get a more specific figure. So as the mayor said, that it may be down the line, the CPA may be coming back, but again, there'll be more hearings at CPA when the final numbers come in on the engineering study. Also, I did leave a letter on everyone's desk from the city engineer just talking about the feasibility of the study, which I think you all got. And I believe that's it.
Okay, are there any other councilors before we put a motion on the table that have any comments on this? See none? Councilor Hagan.
Yep, I'll make the following motion that the city council approve the following supplemental appropriation. $25,000 to be appropriated from CPA Open Space Fund, $25,000 appropriated to $25,000 for the CPA football field project. The amount requested used for the following purpose: for professional service development, plans and specifications for a new football field at White Brook Middle School.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to recommend approval of the supplemental appropriation request of $25,000 for professional services to develop plans and specifications for a new football field at White Brook Middle School. Is there any further comment on this motion? Councilor Derby.
I just want to say that I'm in support of this, and I think that anytime we can use CPA funds to support sports, recreation, kids being active in our community, I think it's a wise investment. So.
Thank you. Any other councilors, any further comment? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. Counselor Hagan.
Our second public hearing tonight is a request by the Contributory Retirement Board to accept amended Section 101, Chapter 32. I don't believe, City Clerk, that I need a second reading on this? No, I don't believe so. What this involves, and I'm not sure if anyone's here from the contributory, I know the finance director sits on that now as a member of the board. It used to be the mayor and now is the finance director. And I'll give it my best shot here, and then I'm sure the finance director could correct any inaccuracies. But this was approved by the board, and it involves only at this time 2 surviving spouses of retirees that went out on disability. And at the time that they went out, there was no opportunity for them to take a spousal, in other words, to take a lesser payment in return for a spousal benefit to the spouses. The law has since changed, so this would only involve currently 2 people, and I believe Tina Schneider was there and couldn't make it tonight, but she did come to both our subcommittee meetings and said she believes there's only one other retiree that possibly this could affect in the future. Our numbers that we have on this is it's currently, they're receiving $9,000, but I think it might be closer to $9,800, but I think Melissa can talk to that, and it would move up to $12,000. So that would be the extent of the cost to the contributory retirement. But certainly, I think the finance director maybe can add something to that.
So I apologize, I don't know the exact amount of their current stipend, but it is just sort of something to try and amend an oversight of an option that wasn't made available to disability retirees. And they did, I believe, the mayor reminded me that this was an option that we could have taken up last year, but they waited to see how the other increases played out. But there is only 2 people currently receiving this benefit, and there's one other disability retiree who went out at a time that the new options didn't apply. So if he or she, and I'm not even sure which, was to pass before his spouse, then they would become available. So there's a lot of if, then, maybe. So, but it is limited to these 3 people, and then the overall cost to the city. You know, anytime there's an increase in retirement disabilities, it becomes part of our actuarial study, but this is such a small amount given the large number of retirees that I don't think it will make a significant impact on our appropriation, and for what's a small amount for people on limited incomes.
Okay. So I invite the public.
Oh, sure.
If there's any member of the public who would like to step forward and address the council on this issue, please do so now, and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, Councilor Hagan.
I'll make this in the form of a motion that the City Council approve the local option increasing the benefits payable to widows and widowers of disabled public employees under Chapter 139 Acts of 2012, Sections 63, 64, 65, and Section 101 of Chapter 32.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to recommend approval of the request concerning the Contributory Retirement Board to accept amended Section 101 of Chapter 32, the Acts of 2012, as presented. Is there any further comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Motion passes. I guess a motion to close the public hearings?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to close the public hearing. Is there any comment on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objections or abstention? That motion passes. Since we have covered our new business, is there anything any other council would like to note? Council Winnie?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody that there's a lot going on this weekend, October 19th, Nantucket Park, 12 to 6, the pumpkin carving contest, categories of cutest, funniest, scariest, and most original. Also, the Yappy Valley Dog Show from 12 to 2. Also on October 19th, all up at the Nantucket Park. free event with the free park entry, and then, of course, the coup de grace, the Rag Shag Parade on October 29th at Maple Street School at 6:30, and treats for all of the kids after the parade at Williston Earthampton Quadrangle. Rain date will be October 30th, so dress in your Halloween costumes.
Thank you very much. Anything else any of the other councilors would like to add? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to adjourn. Is there any further comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. No objections or abstentions? Motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.